We are recording on the 26th of February 2021. Today, apparently, is Carpe Diem Day. Now, if my study of Latin at school and university serves me well, Carpe Diem means complain and then die, which is good advice for life. Nish, you are our global vaccination correspondent and have been since the very first time you appeared on this show.
Indeed, I have. I've been waiting for this portfolio to bear fruit.
This is it's interesting news. This whole project tells us quite a lot about the world in general, both its good points and its bad points.
Yeah, I mean, the positive headlines, which we should open with under the current climate of general pervading gloom, is that 600,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine have arrived in Ghana, and making Ghana the first country to receive coronavirus vaccines through the COVAX vaccine sharing initiative. Now, my first question is, guys, why are we giving them the vaccines and why are they not coming from Wakanda? I've seen Black Panther. There's absolutely no way that guy wasn't able to knock up some sweet viruses and put them in vibranium vials. Secondly, Andy, let's take a moment and enjoy the fact that this is a good news story that involves the West bringing viruses to Africa and it not ending in everyone dying. That is not historically where the direction of travel that has gone. White people turning up with viruses has not traditionally ended well for people of my skin hue and darker, frankly.
Yeah. Joe Biden is doing the job that many Democratic presidents have had to do, which is to clean up the mess of the previous Republican president. And he's off to a rousing start by being competent. It's really amazing to tune into a press conference and just get information. It's a new feeling for us here in the United States. And for him to participate in the global community, not through threats and bombast, but through contribution of funds and acknowledgement that a global pandemic, in fact, is global in nature. We say the words, but then we have to act like we understand them. So I am pleased with the low bar that is now required of U.S. presidents with Joe Biden's return to something like sanity. Yeah.
I don't know if it's so much a low bar as a bar that's just been hurled down a disused mine shaft.
Hello down there. Oh, that's the bar. That is the bar. Yes. I'll just
what a
right
subheading for the Biden presidency so far. Joe Biden, he's not actively trying to kill people at home or abroad.
Exceptions may be made for Syrian missile strikes.
We are basically like a cross between Ebenezer Scrooge and Guy Pearce in Memento. We just keep being visited by ghosts, but we cannot remember what the ghost said. Every Christmas morning, we wake up and think, you know what? This year, I'm going to tattoo it on my body next year. I'm going to tattoo it on my body. I think it might have been something about be less generous and that way you'll become an absolute legend. But I think that's the gist of it. Anyway, I'll keep going with that. And then next year, somebody remind me to write it down.
Yeah, we do tend to get in our own way a bit. And if of all of this, I remember the beginning of the pandemic, it was so naive sounding, where COVID's going to bring us all together. This is the alien invasion we need to unite our disparate tribes. And now it's just like every person for themselves, just flinging babies to the wayside to get a hold of that jab. It doesn't matter. We have forgotten all of that. And it doesn't bode well for the climate change cooperation. That climate change is like, you have no idea what I am capable of. If you couldn't handle a little flu, what do you think I'm going to do to you?
Well, Bill Gates last week said that solving COVID would be a lot easier than solving climate change. And he also said solving climate change would be the greatest thing that humanity has ever done. But that said, he didn't watch the 2005 England v Australia Ashes cricket series. So he's not really comparing like with like. In other very exciting vaccine news, a man from Liverpool was offered a COVID vaccine after a clerical error and an automated computer system led to his local surgery thinking that he was significantly overweight. Well, more than significantly overweight. He was 1,000 times over the recommended weight for his height, which they had recorded as 6.2 centimetres and not, as it should have been, 6 foot 2 inches. I think this is one of the greatest stories to have emerged from this this crisis. Possibly the most extreme case of small man syndrome in recorded history. It gave him a body mass index of 28,000, which is 1,000 times the recommended healthy level for a man of 6'2". A BMI of 28,000 would work out, if I've done the maths correctly, which I might have done, as weighing approximately 90 tons, or in everyday parlance, 5 shipping containers full of marshmallows, 4 luxury motorhomes, 3 elephants, 2 Lancaster bombers, and the Partridge Family in a pear tree.
Yeah, this is a story. There's very few, and I think maybe this is the first unequivocally funny piece of COVID news. There is just no downside to this story whatsoever. The whole story is basically a guy nearly got a vaccine because everyone thought he was basically a whole bunch of tanks. And there's no one's getting hurt by this story. It's a real relief that no one at the doctor's surgery at any point had gone down and gone, oh, is one of our patients a man or a small planet?
Well, what about in California? What's the sort of the path to the future looking like, Baratunde?
I think we're going to recall our governor. I don't know. We have a different sort of roadmap in California. It involves no one being able to afford a place to live. It involves a remaining contingent of Trumpites who don't believe in anything except mass death and destruction. And it involves an embarrassing loss of discipline by our governor some months ago, which he will never escape, when he went to a fine dining restaurant, technically outside, looked like it was inside, and that one move is getting people signing up to recall him from his office. So a little different in California. A lot of money, not evenly distributed. We're going to do just fine, is what I'm saying. For the remaining Californians who haven't fled to Texas, that was a strange move given what's happened in that state recently. It's interesting times. And I have to say, I had ridiculed your prime minister, well, since I ever heard of him. And I thought, there's nothing Bojo can do right. And maybe that's true. But the idea that he exceeded my very low expectations and you actually have this roadmap and he's not yet in real jail, I've got to eat my words a little bit. Like, he's done less horrifically than I anticipated, at least from over here. I'm grateful for Ted Cruz's existence because it gives me something to agree with insurrectionists.
That's a very positive. One aspect.
I got to find that silver lining when I can. The clouds are dark.
One aspect of the Mexico story I particularly was apparently when neighbors of his hired a mariachi band to play outside his house.
Maximum trolling. Oh, that's good. That's good. And that's the sort of civic engagement and community spirit we've been missing in this country.
It's all incredible. It's all incredible. And Baratunde, you hit the nail so aggressively on the head when you said that everybody hates him. Because obviously the only reason we have had this confirmed, because obviously people saw him at the airport and were like, is that Ted Cruz getting on a plane to Mexico? So immediately took photos of him because they all hate him. But the reason that we've had it all confirmed is because one of his wife's friends leaked the text messages. So even people who he's friends enough to be in WhatsApp groups with think he's an asshole. And what's amazing about it is Ted Cruz's hypocrisy at this point is one of the naturally occurring wonders of the world, because the man's capacity for self-awareness is almost minus 1,000. England really took their protests against Narendra Modi, I would say, arguably too far for their own good. They really refused to play. It was an interesting protest in that they steadfastly refused to play one reasonable shot across the 2 innings. And you've got to admire that level of protest.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's quite rare that sports players are prepared to make quite such strident, political gestures, and particularly in cricket, you don't get so for the England team to stand up so strongly against such a powerful leader as Modi is quite impressive, really.
It's very impressive. It's a very depressing spectacle for people like me. As Andy said, the Tebbit test was quite a sort of Norman Tebbit was quite a frightening figure in the lives of second-generation South Asian immigrants, such as myself, growing up in England in the 1980s and 1990s. And he was partly frightening because, for the benefit of non-British Buglers, Norman Tebbit looks like Skeletor from He-Man, which was an extremely popular cartoon series at the time, and it was very frightening. And as for his politics, Norman Tebbit's politics would leave Skeletor looking something like a moderate left-winger.